That's a show. Giddy up. Maime Helinas. Que θα πεθάνω. Classic song. Great
Classic.
song.
Great.
I was thinking about it the other day. For those of you who don't know what I said, it was I'm Greek, basically. That's the name of the song. I'm Greek. Unlike the Odyssey, apparently, from what I hear. And it's what I hear, but I didn't watch the movie, so therefore I have nothing to say. But we're lucky enough to have somebody who did. Steve Siskel, you went and watched the movie.
Yes,
I wonder if Gen X knows who Siskel and Ebert are anymore.
They might know the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, but I don't think they would know who they are.
I was curious about that. Sometimes I go on a Tonight Show rabbit hole, just interviews, and there was one with Siskel and Ebert, which was really good because Chevy Chase was on the set with them. He had just finished his interview, so he was, and you know what kind of a prick he is, right? Mm-hmm. And they killed Three Amigos.
Are you serious? In front of him?
Yeah, they destroyed Three Amigos, and so he made them do it in front of him on the set. And it was a cool clip if you ever get a chance to see it. But I digress. Mr. Siskel, take it away. Did you enjoy Odyssey?
Yeah. Oh, I'm still thinking about it. Like, it's still with me. Like, I want to go back and actually rewatch it because it's a lot to take in, right? It's a 3-hour movie. It flew by, but there's things you miss, right? Because there's just so much happening. And I saw it in IMAX, which was, it's the first film shot entirely in IMAX. It had a few issues here and there, but like for the most part, those, even the things we've talked about in the past about the casting and all that, just I didn't care anymore. Like what he did with that movie, like with using practical effects and shooting it all in IMAX was incredible. It was just like a feat on itself. That the minimum, those castings of Elliot Page and Napingo, whatever her name is, what's her name again? Lupita Nyong'o. It doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. Because like the practical effects of like the real ships, right? They're in the water. He's filming this with IMAX cameras that they shot it with, and they're fucking huge, right? These cameras, they're not just a regular camera. They're like massive. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, the Cyclops, like, there was some CG where they added to the face, but it was a giant puppet. The cannibals in it too were giant people in armor. Were actually tall people. He did no CG at all. And the acting, I mean, Matt Damon was incredible. I know, again, there's one part that I laughed out loud where there's this old Greek man who actually, so he is a Greek actor because he could speak Greek. Like talks to the Indian Hamish Patel, that he plays one of the right hand. Yeah, this is his right hand man. He's trying to communicate with this old man, telling him, and he tells the other guy who's a black guy, who's a Greek soldier, to translate. Like tell him, why did they run off and not help us and give us food? Why did they have to run off? And then he's like, he says something in Greek, and then the black guy translate to the Indian guy, and the Indian guy goes, "Just tell him we're Greek. We're Greek. We're like you. We're Greek." And I kind of laughed out loud because I go, you have a Indian guy, a black guy, saying that they're Greek. And he's probably like, "You are." That's why he's scared. That's why they're running off. You see these black and Indian guy, they're not Greek.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only part that I laughed out loud, but like the like Lupita's role as Helen of Troy it was really short, and it didn't really bother me as much because in context, like the type of movie it was fine. Elliot Page too was a short role, and she was playing a weak soldier, right? So it kind of like just, again, didn't bother me. So I don't know.
So you seem to be focusing a lot on the effects, the look of the movie, the feel of the movie. What about the dialogue and stuff? Like,
that's another thing that bothered me was that some of the words they use, like say instead of say father, they would say daddy or dad. My dad is. Mm-hmm. My dad will come back. My daddy, which is weird for, but again, in Greek, there's multiple ways of saying father, papa, patera, so again, I just let that go. The thing that bothered me the most was that they had the American accent, instead of using the British accent, which was the thing that bothered me the most.
You mentioned that, and did you watch the review? I sent you Matt
Yeah, I
Walsh's
saw.
review,
Yeah.
right? Did you
But
watch it?
yeah, it's not only him, but like a lot of people say that, right? But then you realize, okay, so if Matt Damon, um, then Matt Damon would have to speak in a British accent. So would that mess everything up? Because I don't know how good. I know he's a good actor, but I don't know how it would sound ridiculous. So I
Well,
think
there is a potential for that. Do you remember Kevin Costner and Robin Hood?
is it
How
right?
bad that
That's weird,
that
right?
was. It
Yeah,
was
because
so awful. So
he was
there is a potential for an issue. Yes.
yeah. So I think they went by, okay, if Odysseus is speaking in this American accent, I guess all of the characters have to speak in American accent, even though Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson are British. You know what I mean? They had to speak in an American accent. So I mean that was the biggest. But I mean overall the movie, like it was entertaining. Um, almost like it's almost watching a horror film. At certain scenes were like incredible, like because they always told Nolan, they wanted Christopher Nolan to like direct a horror movie. And I mean, this is it. Like, there's some scenes, and he can do it. Like, if he's gonna do an all-out horror film,
Some gory shit.
some gory shit, yeah.
Okay. I still don't know if I would go watch it. There's still things that bothered me about it. And I guess that's the difference between you and I, I'm at a stage now in my life where I get like if somebody bothers me, I'm not going to go support them, right? And because Hollywood has become what it's become, like when I found out John Leguizamo was in the movie,
Yeah,
for instance, right? I'm like, oh,
which was
you got
good.
to
He
be,
was good in it too. Anyways,
and I'm sure he was,
yeah,
and he is good,
yeah.
but he's so gone off the rails with his politics and his anti-Trump shit, that he doesn't catch up to the shit he says sometimes. I mean, he has said that, oh, Latino roles should be reserved for Latino people. And meanwhile, he's, playing in a Greek mythology movie, or he played Luigi in the Super Mario movie.
Yeah.
So are you culturally appropriating? I can't stand that stuff. So like my stepson and her mom, they're planning, like my Shannon are planning to go watch it again, and they won't let me come. Like she won't let me go watch the movie because I don't
I don't
want you
blame
there.
him. I
I
don't
don't
blame him.
I don't want to hear your shit. That I was like, oh, Charlize Theron and her 5 trans kids and this and that. So
I
I'm
know you have to separate,
you
like in entertainment, right? You have to separate. Like, okay, I know we love
I'm
Goodfellas,
working on it. I'm working on it. I'm doing a better job with sports, but with movies, it's still hard.
but it's still they're acting, right? We don't know them personally. We should be able to separate like the artists from their political views, because they should just be actors and not come out on the news and tell us what to think and what.
I got a problem with being preached at or
Yeah,
being
they
told
shouldn't be,
that
because
I'm
who are they? Like, they're just actors. They're here to
right.
entertain us, right?
They're clueless. They're clueless, removed from real life, and all that stuff. But having said that, we predicted the movie was going to do well. It's obviously doing well. Christopher Nolan has an audience
Mhm.
that is undeniable and so good. And you want to go watch it again, you said.
I want to go. Yeah, I'll go watch it with you if you want to go, and we can both sit there and like and take jabs at it, because like the guy I went with from the gym, uh so before the movie started, I was sitting next to him, and I'm like, I just leaned over. I'm like, you know why I'm really here, huh? He's like, what? I'm here to shut this shit down. Like, I'm ready to take the Greek flag out, and I'm gonna start yelling, "Tonight we dine in hell," and I'm gonna burn this shit down. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And I barely know the guy, right? So you look fucking scared. But it's like, I go, dude, I'm just kidding. Relax. I'm not gonna start an uprising here in the theater. But if you want to, I'm down. We want to go.
I'm considering it. Honestly, I'm considering it because I need to overcome that stuff.
Yeah,
I
like that.
remember going to
I'm
watch
separating that. Separate it.
I remember I'm not a Star Wars guy, and I remember going with you to watch
What
when they
else?
came back after
Yeah,
a long time with
Phantom Menace. Yeah, which horrible.
yes, I remember going with you to watch
And
that,
I was in
and I
denial.
enjoyed it.
I was in denial that it was this is bad. And didn't we sit in the front row and we're looking up too? It was like
Yes.
sunk. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck was I thinking? To
Well,
drag you in. I felt bad that I dragged you in to the.
because it was a huge deal, but I enjoyed it. I said, you know what, this was fun. Like,
Yeah, yeah. If you
but
want to go,
yeah,
I'm down. If
work with me.
I'll work with you. It's like this is counseling. I'll take you. This is the
Maybe
first
yeah.
steps. The first steps into, because we love, like, we love Goodfellas, but then you have De Niro now. Like, do you separate? Like, you can't watch Goodfellas anymore?
Right. I could watch Goodfellas, but I would never go watch anything new that he does
Okay,
for sure.
but I mean anything that from the past that we enjoyed, I
Yes,
don't
for
see De
sure.
Niro in that movie. I don't see the person, the real person. I see that the character, right? So,
I'll
um,
watch the movie,
but I
but I
mean,
still look at him and say, "What the fuck happened to you?"
I mean, there's like even Travis Scott in this movie too, right? Like
Oh,
it was ridiculous, but it's a short scene. But they could have put an old Greek man who's telling the story, like a Homer, right? Who actually
right.
have a Homer like type person sitting there and telling the story, right? Banging his cane, and that's all he does. He bangs his cane, he says a few words, and that's it, right?
There's a lot of Greek actors out there. All you got to do is call Hallmark and say, "Give me a couple of."
Put John Stamos in a beard and put him in there.
Yeah,
But
good idea.
but like the Trojan War, the actual scene of the Trojan War was like phenomenal. Like the Trojan horse, the whole scene in the Trojan horse was spectacular. Like you would forget about everyone else just from that scene alone, right? So it made me proud as like, well, what they did was brutal, but as a Greek person, it made me proud to watch this movie because of the mythology, all the stuff that we've given the world, right? Besides democracy, whatever, etc. But I'm talking about like just the storytelling, because a lot of movies have used, like, they take bits and pieces of the Odyssey and the Iliad and in their movies in Hollywood, right? Because of that. So I mean, in that sense, it made me proud, and it made me proud as what Greeks were once upon a time, right? As warriors. Look at the Spartans, the Greeks, all the Alexander the Great, all the, it just makes you proud. So if you put all the other shit aside and just watch the movie for what it is and what we've offered the world, and whatever they do with it, go ahead and do it. But I felt as a Greek proud, number one.
Which I can appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
but I think a lot of people, Greek, wish they could have represented it better in a better way. Now, totally understanding that this is not historical, so this is mythical, right? This is a mythical Greek story, but you're
If I
proud
was,
to be
yeah,
Greek. You should
I'm
be.
proud. Yeah, I'm proud. Like, no matter what Cyprus is, and Greece is becoming now, I'm still proud as a
Right.
Greek.
I've moved on. One of the things I've matured on is I remember we were adamant about being Cypriot. Call me Cypriot. Call me Cypriot. Have you changed there? Because I feel I have. Like
I have changed, of course.
I am quicker to pull the trigger. Now you're
Greek.
married to a Greek
Yeah.
girl, and obviously it's been easier. But I'm a lot quicker just to say Greek. You know.
Which my mom, like, say
Um, I,
my
yeah.
mom is anti Greek, right? She's more
Okay.
Cypriot. I mean,
Yeah.
during the war, speaking of during the Turkish invasion, there was two
Mm,
sides, right? The left and the right, right?
right.
Some people wanted to merge with Greece. The other ones want to be an independent Cyprus, like Makarios wanted an independent Cyprus. So that
Right.
separated the island. So you got a separation there, and then you had the Turks, who were the minority back then. And wasn't it and we just missed the anniversary. What was it? The 50,
Yeah. It was just on the 20th this
yeah,
week.
52
Was
years of occupation,
52
illegal
years.
occupation.
Illegal.
Yeah.
37% of the country is occupied. 200,000 Cypriots, Greek Cypriots, were forcefully thrown out of their home. Zero sanctions on Turkey. Why?
Because no one gives a
Why?
shit. Nobody gives a shit about Cyprus until they do. They don't care about that situation. They care about now. Now it's a different situation. They care about, right. They don't care about freeing and making Cyprus whole again. They want now, like the Israelis, the Americans, the Russians. They want
Shared state.
they want to share it and then they want the fuel, right? So there's never gonna be a solution. There's never gonna be uh the Turks might leave, whatever Turkish Cypriots will leave or stay or merge or become whatever, but it won't be a Cypriot country, 100%.
It's not going to be Greek.
It won't be Greek. Well, look at it
It's
now.
not going to
Like,
be. It's not going to be fully Greek. Yeah, the last two times I've been there, especially Lefkosia, the Ledra
yeah,
area, down
Mhm.
by the Green Line.
Yeah.
It pretty overwhelming, the change.
Is it Turkish? Like, or like just
No,
migrants?
but it's as if you're walking around Brampton or Mississauga.
Are you kidding me? But
Yeah,
Limassol was
people.
bad too.
Limassol, I didn't get to walk the city as much, so I can't speak to it as much. But Lefkosia, we went down there a few times because that's where my mom's house is. Um, just I took them down to the occupied Green Line there, and we never went through. But yeah, it was pretty overwhelming. Like it was a different
And there
place
we
for
go. But
sure.
there we go again. See, this is what's happening in the world, but this is what's happening in Cyprus again. When I went there 2 years ago, where it was the 50th anniversary of occupation, Turkish occupation.
I was
And
gonna ask. I don't think I've ever been there, and if I was a kid. I don't remember. What is it like there when the anniversary when you don't want to call it an anniversary when
no,
that
yeah,
fateful day. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. I mean, I didn't, I totally forgot when I was there, right? Like I knew it was coming, but then we were sleeping, and then in the morning they rang the air sirens. The air signs were going off, and it was just I woke up like in a panic, thinking like the Turks are attacking again. And my mom's like, no, 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 it's the 50th anniversary of the occupation. They do this every year. They the air sirens go on in the morning, basically. I think throughout the day too. They do it. But there's nothing like there's no again. They're not celebrating. It's just a bunch. It's just a bunch of documentaries that I've always seen next techno on the television, and then
Right.
a bunch of politicians talking bullshit again. Uh, the solution and this and what to do, and it's just politicians talking bullshit, and that's it basically. How many people are still missing?
About, I think the number is about 1,620 people to date are still missing.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
no bodies found, and
no bodies found, nothing, and it's crazy because you know I can't throw a dart here in Toronto without hitting a Palestinian flag.
yeah.
And the kinds of rallies and protests there are for that. And I'm not, they're entitled to it 100%. I've always been confused as to why there was never more to that. I mean,
But there
that is,
was. I told you back when my mom was telling me that she was holding me in the Danforth when they were protesting, and she was holding me, and she said, and the Greeks were throwing eggs at the Cypriots that
yeah.
were protesting. Greeks now, like telling us, "Don't bring your problems here." Meanwhile, we're one. We should be like,
Isn't this all
united.
our problem?
Yeah, it's all our problem. But
Maybe we
they
should start. Maybe we should start calling ourselves Cypriot again. Then
there you go. Let's
fuck
go
it, I'm
back.
not Greek anymore.
Yeah, we're Cypriot.
Well, when my brother did the army and stuff, there were some stories about certain help that they're still waiting for after 52 years that was supposed to be coming over from Greece. Now, this is
Like weapons and
based
stuff?
on their stories, huh?
Like weapons or so?
Ships, yeah,
Yeah,
help,
okay.
military help. Now, is this what they're telling them in the army? Actually, I don't know, but
I mean, if they want, like tomorrow, if the Turks come in, it'll take hours. They'll take us out. They'll take us out within hours. The only thing is, like now the Israelis want Cyprus, right? They're saying go to war, like this probably next with Turkey to take Cyprus back,
it takes,
and
mhm,
then take even some of Turkey, and
yeah,
not and then they want some of the Greek. They wanted 40 islands too. They're demanding 40 islands, the Israelis. And then what happens then? It's a different problem. They'll help us remove these, the Turks in the north, but then
mhm.
we'll be occupied by Israel, basically.
You get into a situation where
So,
it's
yeah.
still not ideal.
Yeah, we have
I
what?
get
You go there, all you hear is it's not the same like it used to be. You go, you hear Russian, you hear Hebrew, you hear all these different languages, British, but you barely hear any Cypriots anymore.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to take the good with the bad because it's a very well developed country,
Yeah.
thriving. However, we've kind of allowed ourselves to get bent over
We're doing yeah, it's the same
in
thing. When
ways.
I went to Limassol, I couldn't believe that there was mosques and Turkish people in the south.
Yep. That's crazy to me.
So that you're doing it's the same issue because once you let that population where it's less Greek and more Turkish, or even I mean back then it was what 80-20 ish,
Right.
and they took over half the island. So imagine now, this the same thing is happening. You're allowing this. Don't you think? Don't you remember the past? I don't get it. And the same
Well,
shit is happening.
I don't think it's their choice at this point with
No.
the influence of the EU, the sanctions they put on you, like fines for not. I mean, what is it? Is it Hungary or Poland who gladly pay fines every year, but they maintain their way on how they want to handle immigration within their country.
Yeah. But
Um,
the other big mistake was they opened the border to the north, and people Cypriots are going and spending money in the north.
yeah, they're playing at the casinos and they're
Yeah.
yeah, it
So they're
that
funding
I
that.
never
They're
understood.
funding them because if we didn't open they said when I went there, they go, if we didn't open the border,
Right.
then they would have starved to death up there, and they would have begged us to become one, right? And they were on the verge. I heard supposedly that we would have become united. But what they do, they open the border, they allow casinos to be built, and people go out and buy cheaper knockoff Nikes and blah blah blah, and spend money in jewelry in the north, but they don't spend money in the south.
Hmm.
And then they brought the butchers were bringing the bad meat from the bad cow and goats and sheep from the north too, and then they brought them
So
over. Yeah, and then
so they had a diarrhea problem too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's these
So are we?
it's crooked politicians. That's all it is.
It always is. That's all it is. But are we optimistic or are we pessimistic about the future? Because it seems like the EU is slowly but surely moving in a certain way. Like they're getting a lot of more right leaning people back into the union.
You told me once that about the next generation, this generation now, or the future generations. Will they care about what's going on? Because that's what's going to matter. Because I think that we were probably the last generation. Maybe the next one after us was kind of into it, but like wanted a solution. But I think future
Hmm.
generations are softer and more accepting. They'll be more accepting of this separation and just let it be.
Yeah, it's hard to get a gauge. Well, here's the thing, right? We live in like kids live in the social media world and they go to school now and they're taught buzzwords, empathy, inclusion. Those are the important things. There's the space is there for everybody, and the reality is it's really not. It's really not. It's like I, I could identify as a 6'10" NBA basketball player who's black. I should not be entitled a spot on an NBA roster.
No.
Um, however, I went to church last year during Easter, and the priest was talking about how encouraged he was on the amount of young people who are making it to church more and more than ever. So maybe that's a sign where, people have gone so far to the crazy town that they're realizing and being drawn back in with because to me it starts with Christ. It starts with God, it starts with our religion, how deep you're willing to go with it. If you start there, then I think there's reason to be optimistic. But honestly, at the end of the day, I have no idea. I have no idea
I have no
because a lot of the influences on kids these days revolve around, leftist ideology, especially if you send them to university and for the most part, that's
idea.
not good news.
Well, that's the master plan, right? Like, take away
Yeah.
take away our religion, take away our culture, take away the whole sanctity, like just of having being married, having kids.
Having families. Yeah.
They're making they're making everything more expensive, housing, less jobs, AI, this and that.
You're
So
a hero if you have an
yeah,
abortion.
you having a hero, yeah. So make it more difficult for people to have families and to survive. So people are like refusing, and even 5, 10 years ago, like talking to people where I worked, and that was majority of the mindset. And I remember
Yep.
the one girl, like when I had my first kid, this coworker of mine, she who ripped out her uterus, literally, because she didn't want to have kids.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I remember one
Was
other
it
the same
was
one
it
that
Mulva? Was it Mulva?
But she was against having kids so much that she ripped out her uterus. And then this because I remember when I had the kid, and my other coworker told me that they were walking to him and her were walking to the GO train station. He goes, oh, he's like, I'm really happy for Steve. You know, he always wanted a kid, right? And you know, she turns to him and goes, I don't give a fuck. That's what she said to him. I don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
he's like, what? Okay, that's not a way to react. Say all she had to say was, I'm happy for him too, or just say, you know, just say something nice, you know. And
That
she, I thought
means
she was my,
she
I thought she was my
that
friend too. And
yeah. That means she's not happy.
no,
That's what
she's
that means.
miserable.
That's all that
She's a
means. She's a
miserable
miserable
cunt.
human being. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna rip your own uterus out because you don't want kids, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I guess that's better than having so many kids that your uterus does fall out. But remember that joke?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah, so I don't know which way I'm going. I don't know what to think. Um, Only thing you can control is how you raise your kids.
that's it.
I think I've done a pretty good job.
Yeah. We're on a good
I think
path.
they get it. I think they get it.
I mean,
It's just about, you know what? It's just about being honest, man. It's the truth. The truth prevails.
yeah,
If you keep them in fantasy land, they're going to live in fantasy land. But the truth always prevails, and that's
a show. Goodbye, everybody.